Hey, Stabasco, the sophisticated biker. You know, I've never seen something so silly take off so fast on social media. Um, Let me give you a little bit of insight on how big motorcycle clubs work and also small ones. And this is purely for your entertainment purposes, and I represent nobody but your feelings. Most every motorcycle club I'm aware of, including large ones, and I was a member or affiliated and associated with allegedly with one of the largest in the world. And that we if there were a plan to do something, you wouldn't know about it. You would not be reading about it on social media. There would be no announcement made or press conference or videos made, and no one's going to stand near a pack of the top tier one percenters, and shoot videos. I mean, there have been. You'll see some tied into some other videos that really are completely out of context. I've seen some from Sturgis. They're on their way. You know, clubs have to handle their business like most clubs do, and that is you keep it close to your chest. There are consequences for your decisions that you don't want anyone out there. I mean, people could be looking for you to do you harm, so you don't talk about your route. You don't talk about where you're going or what you're going to do. In fact, on most missions, well, all that we had run or some things we had to take care of, our own members didn't know where they were going until they showed up at the meeting point to leave. Because you need to keep everything close to your chest because there could be people laying in wait in path or whatever. And I'll tell you, in Aurora, Colorado, it sounds to me like law enforcement hasn't done anything yet because they've been putting their tactical plan together for, I don't know what, about a week and a half or two now, which I feel really bad for the people in that complex because, I mean, I guess they don't matter yet enough that they could actually go in. It's a tough task because that kind of an extraction when they're mixed in with citizens would be difficult, but they would find those pods of those members, and it could it could get loud and dangerous, and anybody they may be holding with them now because they aren't residents, they're hostages. And I'm gonna tell you something, y'all ain't paying attention. We've been talking about this for about I don't know, almost a year, and I applaud the American people's resilience for thinking that we're that strong or that nobody's going to go that route, or some, I think, just your products of what you've been told or taught. Unfortunately, we've all been told and taught things that weren't necessarily true. And but what I wouldn't lie to you, I have no benefit to lie to you. I don't speak for any individual club, but I'm just going to tell you, those top apex clubs are would be, if it was ours, we would be laughing at the citizenry of this. It's just absurd. You got. I mean, no offense. Look, I ain't no spring chicken, but you got middle-aged soccer moms on there rooting on they're going to take care of it and this, that, and the other. Let me tell you what would happen if they tried. If they tried to even get, they wouldn't even get there because from where they are and where they got to go, I guarantee you there's a perimeter of that area. I think that it wouldn't matter. It's not anything against them or clubs in general, because it wouldn't matter if it was a convoy truck of pickup trucks with the rabbit stuff, in the back, hanging in the back window. They're not going to allow anybody anywhere near there, because again, and honestly, it will probably get to that in this country at some point, unfortunately. But I mean, the top law enforcement agencies are hypocrites. I mean, to be honest with you, because they constantly break laws, and they, but yet they do that to enforce laws. And if you ever want a nice T-shirt, you go to sophisticatedbiker.com, and I have one on there that says, "If you break the law enforcing the law, you're a criminal," because that's what I believe. But they pit lies against the motorcycle club community. It doesn't matter if you're innocent, guilty, or a lawyer, or a doctor, as some lady said on here. Oh, they're everything, they're everywhere. Yeah, well, when you get the patch on, you're a criminal according to the national law enforcement agencies, and they would call out the the special forces teams or the tactical teams or even maybe the National Guard to prevent anyone in a big club from going down there and handling the business. But obviously they don't feel like the people's lives that have probably been lost in those communities has been worth it to send them in there. But I guarantee 100% to you, and I have been witness to it. I mean, I've been a part of it, where you're obviously assumed guilty before innocent, and that's pretty much the American injustice system. And then they throw the special stuff at you when you're wearing a patch. So all I'm saying is, to me, and I don't speak for this club or any other, it's 100% inconceivable. I mean, think about what if they went in there to take care of business, and a citizen accidentally got unalived. What do you think they would do to that club? They would RICO them. They would charge them with everything under the book. They would, because they're all control freaks. You're not allowed to handle anything yourself. By golly, you better dial that 911 because we're here to help, which is the biggest joke in the entire world. And everybody knows it, but here we sit as a citizenry and let it happen. I'm just telling you, there ain't no club come down there to save nobody, in my opinion. And y'all better get your ducks in a row. In fact, they ought to already be in a row. It's not time. It's time to be ready, not get ready. Because as usual, we may put this on the TV or the internet and be like, "Oh, well, that's there." Look, man, I've been to Denver. We had an office there years ago, and I would help run that office. I'd fly out there when they were in between regional managers, and I love it. Nice area, Boulder, and you can go drink some Coors, man. Whatever. These are normal people, normal neighborhoods. Okay. And especially there was a Target, I believe, or something. There was a shopping center, Target, or something there this week where they, like, about 300 of them, of these immigrants had taken over, and they're just doing whatever the hell they wanted, and there wasn't a cop in sight. So if you think for a minute that you're going to be able to dial 911 and save your wife, your daughter, your mother, your sister, you're wrong. And let me be extremely clear about the fact that if you haven't dealt with this type of element, which like 90% of the American citizens haven't, these infiltrators, if you will, they give zero value to life. You won't negotiate with them. Hell, half of them don't even speak English. I've always called them, and not that particular country that they are, but in general, those type of people and or the gangs like that they're soulless, man. I mean, you're staring into empty eyes because they have been through more stuff than you have ever even dreamed of. You've even seen a movie on, and life in a supermax where they're greeted as a king and treated as a king for the sacrifices they've made for their organizations is 100,000 times better than where they came from, and there's no choice to go back. So you either take care of business out here, you go inside where, I mean, they have to take care of business, but it's a different environment, or you die. I mean, that's just it. So they have nothing to lose, and organizations that have nothing to lose are the most dangerous in existence. So I just, again, throw this out there. Stop sharing the stupid shit. 99% of about 100% of what I've seen so far on social media, their name shouldn't even be coming out of your mouth. You don't even know, I mean, come on, man. You don't even know what you're talking about. And you spread a bunch of false stuff. If I were them, I would just be laughing at you because you don't even know what you're talking about. Again, they would not be received as heroes. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? They would literally all be charged because, again, in the American injustice system, there's no good deed that goes unpunished. So if that's what you're holding out for, you're in trouble. So I'm telling you, I would say probably 85 to 90% of the households in this country are not ready for this, because you personally already have to have in your mind ahead of time that you're willing to do tremendously bad things in the effort of good or a protection, because you don't get a second chance. And you know how they always said, you know, don't ever throw the first. You know, that I wasn't taught that way. I was taught that if it's going to get on, get it on, and you better throw the first, because the first might take you out. And I'm telling you, you don't want your families in, you know, at their mercy, because they don't have any mercy. And if you think it's just some rundown apartments here and there, I mean, it is right now. But the fact of the matter is, it was at a shopping center the other day, and you have no idea that when you run to the next grocery store run, what's going to pop up. And I'm telling you, this is why we have what we have to defend ourselves. That this lady was talking about trying to be the president, who's like the first 100 days, I'm going to executive order and remove all those. You don't need a 30-round mag. No, I need about 6 of them. And you better hope your neighbor has about 6 if you don't have anything, because it very well may save your life and or your family's, because these guys have them. And that's the whole point. It's always been the point. You know, 99% of law, 99.9% of law-abiding citizens don't buy a protection device to use in offense. Okay, usually it's in defense and sporting and whatever. But yet these grabbing laws, they're trying to grab control. Who are they disarming? They're disarming the good guys, because the bad guys, thanks to the current policy and previous 4 or 3 years or whatever, they're driving truckloads of them over here, man. So do you really want your neighbors to have a 5 load camera to take pictures, and that's all they got? Because they sure as hell ain't going to spend one of those protecting you. Think about it. Think about the world we live in. Think about what's happening here. This is just the beginning, folks, man. And we have been telling you this for a year. If you don't know by now, God save your soul, because it's too late, and you have put your loved ones at jeopardy, serious jeopardy. And you don't think that's true, because we would always think, oh, we've always heard this doomsday stuff. If you lived in Aurora, Colorado right now, and that was your family in your house, this is real. It just happened. And the mayor says that they seem to be like growing in numbers. And he literally said, and you can look him up, and I have another video posted where he said, I think the federal government is bringing more in and dropping them off while we're trying to tactically come up with a plan. They ain't for us. We've been talking about this. Y'all been fighting over who your guy or your girl is, the next liar who doesn't give 2 shits about you is, and you've been distracted as usual, as they planned, and is getting ready to get busy, and you're all over here fighting about, fighting for your candidate, and they're just laughing at you. I mean, they really are, because they're already hedging, their stock bets on, the outcome of anything and everything, so they can just get richer, and they're freaking laughing at you. So get your house in order, get your grave in order. Keep it real.